Hi, it's Linda back again with Look Ma No Hands. Today's content that I'm bringing you is going to be a little bit different than the last two videos you've seen. I'm working on a new crochet project. The project is called Corded Shells Rectangle Blanket, designed by Fiber Spider. He's one of my favorite crochet designers on YouTube. His patterns are very straightforward. His videos that he puts out, he's very clear, concise, easy to follow. He breaks down all the steps really nicely. He makes sure to explain the steps, one at a time. He talks about all the tools that he's using. So I really appreciate a lot of the content that he puts out. This particular pattern is one that I've done several times, and I like the texture of the shell stitches and the kind of raised texture of the post stitches for the cord look to it. The yarn that I'm using today is Lion Brand Mandala Bonus Bundle in the color Pegasus, and I'm using my J hook 6mm. It is a hook that has kind of a nice grip to it. It's comfortable to hold on to, so that's kind of my go-to. The size 6mm J crochet hook is probably my favorite size, just because of the feel that it has when I'm holding on to it. It feels most like a pen or pencil, and it's just a comfortable grip for me. I learned how to crochet from watching my aunts, because they both really like to crochet, and they kind of taught me the basic skills. And then over the last maybe 10 years or so, I've started watching different videos on YouTube, and then kind of dove into reading patterns, but I'm not great at reading patterns yet, so I typically navigate towards written patterns that I can find videos for, because then if there's something that I get hung up on, I can refer to the video and kind of get a better understanding. I'm very visual. Just reading the pattern, sometimes my brain isn't processing what the pattern is saying, but if I see the video, then I can kind of replicate what I see, even though there aren't any other people that crochet and make videos that use their feet, but I've been pretty good about just translating what they do to using my feet, because I've always used my feet for everything, being that I was born without arms. So let's get down to it. I'm going to do the best I can to talk and crochet at the same time, but I find that when I'm trying to do both, I don't do so great. So there might be some lags in me talking and stitching, and there might be some times when it sounds like I'm fumbling over my words, because my brain is kind of dedicated to doing the stitches. This is the first time I've tried stitching while I'm recording myself. And yes, I'm recording myself. I'm using my iPad to film myself. It's going to be kind of a learning process for me. This is only the third video that I'm making of myself. I never much cared for seeing myself on video, so this is kind of an experiment in personal growth. I don't like hearing my own voice, although I'm getting better about that. I've done a few live performances in theater here in Chicago, and have seen the video recordings of those performances. So, like I said, a time for personal growth, to get used to hearing the sound of my voice through, I guess you could say, the lens of a camera or the boom of a speaker. I'm not sure how you would say hearing your voice when it's not through the bones of your skull. Which, from what I understand, the reason why we don't like listening to a recording of our voice is because when we speak, we're hearing our voice as conducted through the bones of our skull. I'm kind of a science nerd. I'm not a scientist, but I read stuff and find it fascinating. So the stitches that are used in this particular pattern, I've kind of shouldn't say shied away. I've kind of modified what Fiber Spider does. He uses double crochet throughout, and I found that when I did that, I was not consistent with how I was pulling the double crochet stitches for the front post stitches. So I switched to using treble crochet or triple crochet for the stitches that are not part of the shell, the stitches that make the cords, because I find the height of the treble crochet works better for me. And I know that Fiber Spider said just pull it a little looser, pull it a little taller so that it matches. And I was not doing a good job with that. So I used what I know from what my aunts have taught me and modified the directions for my needs and for my preference. Like I said, his patterns and his instructions are really great. And he always says, do what works for you. And I take that suggestion very much to heart and modify patterns according to what works for me. And that's the beautiful thing about any kind of art or craft that you do. You can always change things to make them more pleasant for yourself. I love crochet because I can create garments or blankets or things to my design preference or my color preference. When you buy off the rack, or when you buy something that's manufactured in a store, you're kind of prisoner to whatever you can find on the shelf. I'm currently wearing a poncho that I made for myself. In the wintertime, it's nice to have those pieces that you can layer, but for me, a sweater doesn't really make sense because those long sleeves serve no purpose for me. So it's very difficult to find short sleeve sweaters because that wouldn't, for the average person, make a lot of sense. A short sleeve sweater, maybe in the springtime, but in the wintertime, everybody wants sleeves. So as a kid growing up, I would wear sweaters and have the sleeves hanging everywhere, getting caught on doorknobs and getting snagged on anything sticking out in the way. And that drove me crazy. So now that I can crochet, I make myself ponchos that don't have any sleeves, and I can still have a sweater, and then I can make them in my favorite colors or holiday colors, various seasonal colors. I can use different weights of yarn, different textile if I want to do cotton for summer, if I want to do acrylic for the durability. I don't typically use wool because of the care instructions. It's a lot more fussy in my opinion. And I haven't found wool that I feel isn't scratchy. So I typically stay away from wool. Occasionally I'll use it, but my preference is either cotton or acrylic. With this particular pattern, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the color change. Initially, the idea of the colors changing mid-round or mid-row kind of bothered me. I'm very much a person that likes symmetry and things that look well thought out and planned. So I guess I'm just all about the personal growth right now with this project, because I am just letting these colors flow as they go and not trying to control where the color changes happen. And I'm finding that it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would. I will definitely be posting pictures on social media when I'm done with the project. I will post pictures in the community tab so that you can see the progress and see the finished product. I'm not going to do the whole blanket while we're sitting here today. Maybe I'll finish this one round and then we'll call it a day, because we could be here for a while. If I was going to go through the whole rest of the ball of yarn, even would take probably the rest of the day, and I don't know that you want to sit here for another 6 hours or so just watching me crochet. Yeah, but if you have any questions, you can go ahead and pop them in the comment section. If you have any suggestions of yarn that you like to use for projects that work from the center out, or if you just want to comment about your preference with the color change yarns, and if you try to color control, or if you are a go with the flow color change yarn person. The previous corded shells projects that I've done, I used Karen's Simply Soft yarn, which is another one of my favorite yarns. It has that nice sheen to it. And I would change colors every third round. This pattern is a 3-round repeat. And I thought changing colors after every third round made sense, just for my preference. I guess I could have done it every single round, but I liked the way doing it every third round kind of gave a nice band of color, and it also made it easy for me to keep track of where I was in the pattern. I was sitting the other day crocheting when my son came home from school, and he came up to talk with me like he does every day, and he was watching me stitch, and he says, "Mom, that's amazing, you do it so fast. I hardly can even tell what you're doing." He says, "It looks like fun, but he doesn't want to try." I said, "Yeah, initially it was a challenge, and I never thought I would get to a point where I could finish a project to my own satisfaction, but I've done quite a few projects, and I've had a good deal of success. Sometimes I finish something and I'm not happy with it. In that case, I either put it in a box somewhere and never look at it again, or I take it apart and reuse the yarn for something else." I love making hats. Hats are little projects that work up quickly. So if I want to just have something to be like, "Ha, I'm done. I finished something and it looks great," I will work on a hat. And my best hat customer, or should I maybe say not so much customer, but taker, the person who enjoys the hats the most, is my mom. I probably make 2 or 3 hats every winter for her, and she never complains. She has quite a hat wardrobe. It is my intention to show more of my projects that I've completed. At the moment, they're boxed up in a big old suitcase in the attic. I have lots of blankets and a couple of scarves and hats. Sometimes I go to like holiday bazaars and try to sell them. I've tried to see what kind of success I can have at the summer concert festival in the area. It's kind of hit or miss. In the middle of summer, nobody's really looking to buy any kind of blankets, although there are baby blankets that could be used to cover the baby carrier to keep the baby out of the sun, or to put onto the floor so that the baby can have tummy time, or to use on a bed so that if you're changing the baby, you have something protecting the bed when you're doing diaper changes. Or they could even be used to decorate the nursery. But I think when people think blanket, they think warm and cozy. So in the middle of summer, nobody's thinking about warm and cozy, and it's hard to try and sell them. I do love to give them as gifts. A few friends have purchased my blankets to use as auction items. I've donated to a few auctions to benefit organizations that I am affiliated with. For the most part, I crochet because it's fun. I will definitely be going back and checking my work here before I continue on to the next round, because talking and stitching, like I said, not my forte. I'm getting close to the end of the round because right now the blanket is still pretty small. Probably measures about 14 inches the long way and maybe like 12 inches the short way. When I first bought the yarn, I only bought one ball of yarn because I found it on clearance at Joann's, and the color was very striking. So I thought, oh, it's on clearance, I must rescue it. And then I looked at it and I said, only one ball isn't quite enough for what I want to make. So back in January, I think, there was a sale on all the mandala yarns, and I went back to Joann's to see if they had any left, and there were 5 of this color. And so I snatched up all 5. I said 6, it's got to be even. So I have 6 balls of mandala yarn now to use in projects. I don't know, there's something about even numbers that pleases me. I'm probably kind of strange in that way, right? Sometimes I can get into the zone here and stitch pretty quickly, and then I start getting all in my head and second guessing what I'm doing, and I have to slow down. But I like to crochet while I listen to audiobooks or watch Netflix, particularly if it's something that I've already seen before. So yeah, tell me what you think of this video, because I'm a newbie, so I need some feedback, some input on how to change things, or if what I'm doing works okay. One more shell. And I am to the end of the round. Oh, come on. It got stuck. Let's try that again. Okay, last stitch and then a slip stitch to join. The slip stitch part is always so difficult. And then I'm gonna slip stitch into the corner so that I'm ready for the next round. And I'll stop there. So I can hold it up so you can see. And then I will hold up this way so you can see the texture, you can see the cords there. Like I said, I like it. I think it turns out pretty. So that's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed. You know, I kind of like cut my head off there, but in order to be able to have the camera show the project that I'm working on, it has to cut off the top of my head. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll come back again and see what I have coming up in the next video. Not sure when that'll be, but definitely come back and check it out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button and send any kind of comments you have about what you're watching today. All right, bye-bye.